panel interview portion of this bad boy. So can I get a Better Off Dead on the stage? Gabe. Can we get Nedarb on the stage?
Make some noise.
We don't know where Ned is. Who else is supposed to be here that's standing very close? Cortex? And where's Cortex? How about literally anyone who's supposed to be sitting on one of these couches? Just come on out. We got LaDerek and Cortex. Yeah. Wait, oh, here's Era, right here. And you can sit over here, I believe. I feel like we're a seat short. Oh, there's Ned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want a drink. Someone bring me a drink.
I got you.
Sup, fools?
Throw the whole thing out.
Can I get a hell yeah?
Okay, so first off, I want to talk about music theory. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, first question. Obviously to Nedarb.
Oh my god.
Nedarb, why don't you tell us the story about how you and Peep connected for the first time?
So I used to do vocals a lot. I used to rap a lot. And there was an underground singer named Young Jizza who like put me and him on the same song, and it was called Operation Love.
Shout out Young Jizza.
And so like I did vocals on it, he did vocals on it, and that was actually the first time I had heard him. And then he had hit me up like after we did the song and was like, hey, I fuck with your stuff that you've done with like Xavier Wolf and shit. Start sending me beats. And I like, after I heard his verse, I started diving into his shit, and the first song I heard was Live Forever. And I thought it was like the coolest, freshest new shit I had heard in a while, so I just flooded him with beats. And he was still living in New York at the time. And yeah, just sending him beats, and then he would send them back. We'd be like, all right, cool, on to the next one. And then we made, and that's how California Girls EP. Just through email, like, it wasn't anything crazy, I was just emailing him beats.
So he was in Long Beach and you were in LA at the time?
Yeah, I was in LA.
You were like living.
I had just dropped out of college and was couch surfing around.
And he's like,
Yeah! Hey, shout out all the dropouts.
Nah, don't drop out.
is like, is this the time period when you were living in a tent in someone's backyard?
No, you didn't have to tell them I was living in a tent in the backyard, but no, I was living on my friend's floor who had snakes, and one of the snakes got loose, and they didn't know where he was, so I was living in constant fear all the time. So
Interesting.
it's South Central, but yeah, I was just making these little emo beats, and I sent them to him, and boom,
So,
boom, Beamer Boy, wow.
Beamer Boy, okay. You just let into that. So I would say that Beamer Boy was the first like coming out party for Peep. That was the big first song on SoundCloud.
Hey man, that's awesome.
So how'd that song happen?
I emailed him a beat. Got on it. Boom, Beamer Boy. Literally, it was like, I'm sorry, y'all. It was nothing crazy. It was nothing that crazy. Like, I remember I went back and looked at the DMs of like when I was sending him the shit, and he sent me it was like, I hope you like this shit. I was like, yeah, this shit tough. On to the next one. Like, it was very.
So
I don't know.
when you got the song back, it wasn't like, oh, this is a huge hit. It's just like another
No,
song.
I knew it was fire, but I didn't know it would like blow up and shit. But then he had moved to to LA to live with Brennan again. And then that's when we like dubbed it first, and that's when like White Tea and all that shit happened.
And you met him in Pasadena.
Met him in big Pasadena, where we lived with like 10, 15 people, fighting for a couch each night. Shout out to Brennan for letting me stay with him, letting a bunch of people, but
It was like you, Pete.
it was like me, Pete, Brennan, Goth, Laderick, fucking Craigson, fucking Kill Station, Jay Green, Omen 13. There was a bunch of fools, Ghostman, like Lady Jones, just all.
Wavy Jones, shout out Wavy.
Shout out Wavy.
He's somewhere in
But-
Canada.
Yeah, and then they were just, everybody was recording nonstop at that house, so yeah.
Crazy. So, Laderick, you were another one of the very early collaborators. You made some of the most influential music of the start of his career. Do you remember how you guys initially met?
Yeah, so basically the way it all happened was like, I was like setting up shows at this like warehouse called Echoplex in Denver. And I had set up like a couple of shows that were like cool and shit. And at this point I had already like kind of known Peep on the internet because I was in like Goth Really Click at the time, and he was like just paying attention to like underground music and shit. So, and my friend Goth at the time, like he was like really close. He started getting really close to Peep like really early on, and since they knew that we could like, he was like, oh shit, so you could set up shows in Denver. Like if I come over there, could you set up a show? And like yeah, so the venue let me set up a show there. Peep came through to Denver, and then like as soon as we met, we just like super hit it off. Like me, him, and Goth, and we just started hanging out every day. We were doing like a bunch of acid and shit together, like playing shows, and we just started making music like just like for fun. We were just like fucking around, just like anyone else would, how anyone else would start off. We didn't really have any like big aspirations for. Like the biggest song he had out at that time was like Star Shopping. It probably had like 15K plays or something. Yeah, everything was just really genuine. And like I was working a job at the time, but like as soon as we did that first show, like we kind of all realized. And at the time, like a bunch of other people had like randomly happened to be in Denver for that show. Like Ghostman was there, and like a couple other people. But we all kind of just like had this like collective realization where we were like, yo, like. Fuck what we're doing right now, like we could do this shit, like we could make it, like our shit, we could be like the biggest artists out. And it wasn't really about that at the time though. We were just like ganged up, like 10 deep, like just chilling, like making music every day, like yeah. And but anyway, then like Peep was like, yo, like after we were just doing our thing in Denver for a minute, making music, we were just kind of making like weird music, like not the best shit he was making. And that's when we just were kind of like wasting mad time there, like, and we were like, yo, we should get out of Denver and go like go back to LA. And Pete pretty much told me like, yo, like, cause I was working as like a waiter at the time. He was like, bro, like just quit your job, like you don't need that shit, like just come and you can live, like he was like, you can stay like at my house like for a couple of months, like you don't have to worry about like paying shit, like. So he pretty much just like blessed me with the like ultimate opportunity. Like, over there. So, then once I got over there, we were just like kicking it, making music every day, just normal shit. We never thought it was gonna like turn into what it was, but everything changed quick. I will say that. So, but yeah, I feel very grateful that fool like gave me that kind of opportunity. Like, so I'm very like I feel blessed for that shit.
So when you were in Colorado, Quiet Cam recorded a now infamous video interview.
What's funny is Quiet Cam was like literally this kid that used to go to like college parties, and I like met him at a college party pretty much. Like I was at a party at his college, and he was like, bro, I'm trying to do like underground like blah 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 videos, like, and I was like, yeah, you should come film this video like or you should come, because he was trying to like set up get me to help him set up interviews for like underground people. There's just so many people that like happened to be like in Denver at that time that are all like big ass artists now. So this is kind of
so Cam was like the first person really to document what was going
Shout out
on.
Quiet Cam, legend.
Yeah, shout out Quiet Cam. Like
Shout out Quiet Cam.
Is he here?
Yeah,
Is
he's,
here.
He's right there.
Cam, I love you, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
shout out
fine,
Cam.
man.
He's so embarrassed.
Let's do some shots after this
He's
shit.
so embarrassed. So, in the Quiet Cam interview, and it's in the film that's coming out, there's this classic line that Peep says, or someone says, I think it's Peep, and he's like, yeah, we just did a show, I think it was like
Yeah, that was
a week ago, and it's like, oh no, that was a month ago.
Yeah, that's a
We
good
thought
one.
it had been like 2 weeks, but we looked at the calendar and it had been like months. So we've just been like in Denver, just like smoking weed and shit, like wasting
Burnt,
time.
thirsty.
So like,
So,
what
we gotta get out
exactly
here.
was happening in Denver at that time? What was like the day-to-day?
Absolutely nothing, bro. Like we were, like I said, we were just like hanging out, like just. We would just meet up in the morning, like smoke weed, make music all day, like do random shit like any other kids would be doing. Like nothing really crazy or special. The only thing that like made it special was just like how hard we were working on music. Really, like that's really what set it apart from like. We really had like we were just making a lot of music, and it was like so much fun that like we just couldn't stop. Like yeah, that's pretty much it.
Because I think it's important to note that obviously Peep turned into a superstar. Everyone ended up finding their own lane and being comfortable in what they're doing with art. But at the time, everyone was really broke.
Yeah,
No one was making money from music.
But no one was really thinking of it like, oh, like we gotta like. There was no really like plan. We were just like making, like we were just doing our thing. Like there was no really like big like. Oh, we didn't have any like big money or yeah. Everyone was so broke. It was like, it was crazy. Like I used to buy him like chocolate chip cookies and shit, like to eat for dinner and shit. Like, but yeah, we were definitely broke as fuck.
One time, me and Brennan and Pete put together like 15, 20 ramen packets in this giant.
We would all pitch up like
There's a
$3
photo.
each.
And we
were
tried
down
making
there.
enough ramen for the whole house.
For like
but-
20 people.
Yeah, that ass.
Bro,
It's a lot.
That
It's a
shit
lot.
was disgusting.
It was just super salty.
It was not good.
There was like too many of the salt packets in there.
Brennan definitely remembers that shit. Shout out Brennan. back
Yeah,
then.
Shout out to
Brennan,
Brennan, honestly, because
Shout out Brennan.
Brennan let us all.
Can Brennan come here real quick? Where's Brennan?
Give Brennan a big shout out. Shout out, Brennan.
That's the one.
She was
So,
a huge struggle though, but like it was fun. So no one it made me struggle.
Come on, Brennan.
Oh,
Oh, wow. You got stage fright. Come on.
Brennan was the backbone to all this shit. He was the one who.
he was
I
the one
stay
that
at his house.
paid
He was the one
bill.
on the lease.
That's
For
a
all
risky
these
lease to
houses.
sign. I don't know who, by the way,
Brennan,
who in their
you-
right mind would rent you guys a house. Okay, so the first time I went to the house in Pasadena, he played me a lot of Crybaby, and then we dropped the White Tea music video Mascarilla. But I met, a lot of you guys for the first time. I've known Ned for years before that. But now I was just hearing stories of like someone punched a hole
Were
in the
you
wall.
there when we destroyed the wall? You were there.
Someone punched a hole in the wall, and then you guys eventually got kicked out of that bad boy.
We like smashed in a drum.
Remember when
with a
somebody
skateboard.
took a shit in the backyard?
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't.
Somebody took a big old dookie in the backyard because there's one bathroom for 15 grown ass
And they like never owned that. so
And somebody
it
just took a shit,
was
so.
like a whole conspiracy.
Yeah, we're like, who did it?
That was always my big question of like,
I know who did it though.
who was it?
Low-key, I did it once.
Oh,
But it was Jay Green first, so I keep it wrong.
Shout out Dre Green. Shout out Jay Green.
Shots fired.
That's fine. Alright, let's talk about something else.
Yeah, so anyway, besides people shitting in backyards, so Cortex, you were another early collaborator, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nah, he wasn't.
I was just chilling.
Trash. How'd you meet Peep, Cortex? Like, how'd that happen?
On Grindr.
Really
And that makes sense, because they're both very good looking dudes.
Peep hit me up. My friend I lived in New Hampshire at the time in like 2015. My friend showed me Peep, and he was like, "Yo, you should work with him." And I had been working with Omen.
Shout out Omen.
Shout out Omen.
Omen 13.
And Omen got a beat from me, and then he got Peep on it, and that was the song we did, Ride. It was Omen and Peep Ride. It's like a really old song. It's crazy. And that was the first thing that Peep ever got on from me, and I kind of heard it, and I was like, whoa, this is wild. And then I have this old DM from him on Twitter, and he sent me a bunch of money signs. He was like, what's up with beats? And I was like, what's good? And I sent him a bunch of snippets, and he wanted some snippets, and I sent it to him. He never really did anything with the snippets, but in the long run, me and Smoke a Sack ended up driving across the country and going from like New Hampshire, East Coast area to California, and we came out to LA, and we were staying with Since When, Dre, and basically like Smoke a Sack had made 19 with Peep, and so
The best song ever.
and so we all ended up like linking up, and he was out. He hit me up, and I was like, "Where you at?" And he's like, "I'm in Pasadena," and I was at Brennan's crib, and so we ended up all linking up, and me and Smoke a Sack had an Airbnb. We kept like renting Airbnbs for months at a time, and basically Peep and Tracy came over one night, and that was the night we made. We just randomly all linked up and like hung out for the first time one night at an Airbnb and made Sex Last Night, which is like that OG song that we did with like an old Under Oath sample. And that was the same night. That was the same night we made Wait Hold Up with Tracy. He recorded it in a bathroom. It was cool though. And then since from now on, like he really looked out for me and Smoke a Sack. He helped us out a lot and gave us a place to crash, and like we made a bunch of music with him, and it was really fucking cool. Shout out Peep Forever for that.
So I guess my general question to Ned, Derek, and Cortex is, how exactly did everyone go from being broke as shit in Pasadena to Peep going on to be one of the biggest stars? What happened? No, like how did you guys go from like Pasadena to like, oh shit, Peep is like the next step?
I mean, I'm gonna be real. That fool blew up in like a whole. He like got so popping in like a week.
What?
Shout out Ned, and everyone, cause like they had the spot. He only had this loft. We had this loft, and Ned was letting us all crash there.
I'm gonna say it was literally all Pete, like 100% all Pete. Like, if it wasn't for him, I feel like everyone would still be broke. And also, I feel like he probably could have done it without anyone as well.
He's a legend.
So I think that's important to know. Like, there was no particular person that like Pete really needed to like make anything happen. Like, he was a genius. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. Like, he had everything planned out in his head. And he would say like, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, like, and it's gonna all like work.
That fool could write a hit in 10 minutes.
He worked, like, he was so like calculated. Like, anything was like planned like geniusly in his head. Like, before he did anything, like every move was like perfect. Like, there was no like bad move. Like, the same way Drake moves, like that fool had the same like mindset.
On God, he really did.
Way better.
I don't think there was ever like an overnight thing with Peep though. Even though his career was only.
It was just like
3
good
years.
music, consistently putting out good music.
Yeah, but
and
like,
just being like cool and like just being like.
It just went up.
No one had ever seen anything like that before. Like, he literally like started a whole like wave. Like, so there was no way
people didn't have like face tattoos and didn't do a lot of shit like that before that shit.
I think people were just like, whoa, like what the fuck, like this shit is crazy. Like when they first saw it, like no one really knew what to think. I just think he would have blown up like regardless. Like, but there was no like one moment. Everything he did was like genius, and everything like played right into the next move. Like every move was like.
He always made iconic moves.
Like calculated, smart as fuck, like this level moves, like every move.
So I think I romanticized the Pasadena house. It was probably a fucking hellhole, but I romanticized it as this moment in time that could never be replicated again. Do you think that period of there were so many collaborators in one house and everyone's broke and everyone's working together and there's iconic music being made, like, can that happen again in 2020, or is that just lost in time before people uploaded their music to Spotify and are making money for music?
No, nothing like that would ever be able to happen again. I honestly don't believe. Like,
He like set a trend,
it
and a
was
lot
like
of people tried it.
once in a lifetime like event. Like, I don't know. That's how I see it, at least. I don't think anyone could recreate that ever.
He made SoundCloud House or something.
So eventually, a bunch of people migrated to the legendary Skid Row lofts.
There was the Whittier house.
The Whittier house. What's up with that? There's some classic stories
Well,
there.
he got like kicked out of his house in Pasadena. He can correct me if I'm wrong, but some religious group or some shit like owned the house, and they were just like, no more, you guys are gone. So he had to find a new house. So then him and Craig and Ghost moved to Whittier, and I was there with Derek and Goff and Open. That was a whole other thing.
Can we get into that or what?
What?
Can we get into some of those stories?
No, not Skid Row, the Whittier
Skid
house.
Group, crazy.
That was like the same time as Skid Row.
No,
it was just like
wasn't.
it
That
was
was
just a
for,
shitty
like-
house in the middle of nowhere.
That was a nice house.
Yeah, it was alright.
It was-
But Skid Row was before Whittier, though.
No, it wasn't. It was after, because that was my Skid Row was me and you trying to find a house.
Yeah,
and stuff.
but they kind of were like at the same time.
After the Skid Crib, that was when you guys got the Echo Park Crib.
Basically, we were living like 20 deep in like squalor and like these different houses around LA. Pretty much, like wherever we could all stay, we would all just like go pile up over there, just like make music.
But it was cool because everyone kind of looked out for everyone. It was cool.
We would like split meals and shit.
So
I was a dishwasher at this bar downtown called Pecking Tavern on Spring Street and all this.
how is that?
It was funny. I was the only verified person working as a dishwasher.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just gonna say it.
And one of my coworkers like knew who I was, not to sound cocky or anything, but he was like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "I don't make any money. I'm a dishwasher." Like,
Listen, I don't think people verified should have to work jobs. They should just get a check from the social media.
No, you definitely-
I'm just kidding.
I should probably go
And
to
make
a
them
job
all work
right
9 to
now.
5s. So, Better Off Dead. Eventually, you come into the picture
Eventually.
and make some classic music. So how'd that all happen?
So really, I was working in the studio, and I ended up meeting Tracy with Big Head at the Lofts, and this was like November, December 2016. And so me and Tracy started working a lot. I engineered like all this stuff from Tracy's manga to Life of Popstar and everything. And but I think we started working like end of November, beginning of December 2016. And then like end of December, maybe beginning of January, we brought Peep. I think the first song we did was either Your Favorite Dress or it was Same Shit, produced by yeah. But actually, I mean, the first time I actually like engineered anything was Xavier Wolf's part on Drive By.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but Peep wasn't there for that. It was just like Wolf. I engineered Wolf's part on Drive By.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Wolf was working at the studio.
I've erased that song.
I know. That's my favorite song.
Pay attention.
I was texting my baby mama.
Okay, that's an acceptable. Okay, that's an acceptable.
She's telling me to relax. I know you're in front of 1,000 people. I didn't know that. That's gas.
Yeah, so that was like September 2016, but me and Peep hadn't met. I knew of Peep. I actually came to, I was at the Suicide Boys show that you threw, and
At the Unmasked Suicide
and how
Boys
Peep
show,
and Tracy opened there, and like I knew of Peep for like a year, and that was the first time I saw him, and then, yeah, like a month later I engineered Wolf's part on Drive By, and then like 3 months later we're working together, and we worked on like a whole bunch of shit. But yeah, it started off with that, like just Tracy brought him through, and I think it was Your Favorite Dress. That was the first one.
Oh man.
Hey,
What happened?
Someone just pulled up.
hey,
Ah, it's a special guest.
Let's put the public picture
Hey,
on.
make some noise.
Tracy.
Tracy, 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 Tracy.
Come on, buddy.
Keep going, keep going.
Tracy, come on.
You're good, Tracy, Tracy, Tracy.
someone bring out a seat for Tracy? Oh, here's a stool right there.
Get him on the stool. Hey, he came. I can't believe it.
So yeah, that's
He
how
wouldn't even go out with
This
me
is how we
last
met.
night.
Was Tracy? It's the black little.
So,
No, it's not. It's the Tracy.
thank you so much for coming out, man.
Oh yeah.
We're kind of right now, we're running through stories of how everyone met Peep. Do you remember how you met him for the first time?
Yeah. I met him through Mid-Art.
So,
Shout out Ned.
what, like, when was that? What year? How did it happen? Was it in person? Was it on
What
Twitter
year?
DM?
It was 2016. We were coming back from Oakland. We had a show in Oakland.
Oh yeah.
And he came back with me. And I brought him to the Pasadena house.
No.
Yeah. That's what happened.
I thought we recorded that song the first.
Yeah, but how you got there when we drove from Oakland down. And I was living there, so you just went to the Pasadena house. And then we did the White Tea show.
Legendary.
So, I think Peep and you had this spiritual connection that 99% of married couples don't even have. Like,
Hey,
you guys
facts.
were meant to meet each
That
other,
was
work
facts.
together, and
That's
you
my
finish
twin.
each other's sentences and
Oh.
verses.
That was my twin.
So how long did it take to get to that point? Was it like an instant, like, holy shit, where...
Yeah, like when we first met. It was just when we recorded the song, we just like became best friends after that.
So, what was the first song?
White Tea. But we talked a bunch on Twitter before that, and
You had shouted him out in the song
He
when
told-
Tracy was.
he told me on Twitter before I even met him, he was like, "Bro, we're gonna change the world."
Wow. And you
No.
for sure did. You literally changed. Oh, is that strong? Yeah, can you get some more drinks out there? So how did you guys record White Tea? What was that process like?
We just recorded it. What house was that?
Pasadena.
Was it?
Yeah,
You recorded it in the living room.
Yeah, it was in the living
in the
room.
kitchen.
That's what the video was done too, right?
The kitchen, the Pasadena kitchen.
It took like 20
The plug
minutes.
wasn't the plug there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pasadena's where the video was done too, right?
And then we did the video the same day, I think.
Who shot that video?
Kill Station.
And his mom's car was in the background?
Yeah, that was his mom's car. And I'm like drinking Jaeger and driving it. Don't do that.
And were you in the wheelchair?
No, that was Ryan Gosling.
That was my son.
Ryan Gosling.
I know one.
Okay. So you come to the Pasadena house, you meet him, you instantly create a classic song. What are those next few weeks like, next month like? What's happening?
I mean, we pretty much spent every day, every hour with each other. I feel like that's how we got so close. You know? And,
What was it about him that drew you to him?
I mean, I don't know. We were just having fun. I don't know. Getting fucked up.
Gang shit.
But I've never seen two people work together all the time as much as they would. I would be pissed off in the early mornings trying to sleep, and these fools would still be up. Like,
It's 10
Maybe
a.m.
for
and
like
they're
2-3
making a
days.
hit.
yeah, they would just go in nonstop, like
For days.
days.
Facts.
For 2 days. We can see for 2-3 days.
So here's a fan question from SoundCloud that I think applies to this. What was Pete's biggest pet peeve when making music? Like, what did he hate when you guys were trying to record a song?
I don't know. I don't think anyone really cared about anything.
He could pretty much make a song
He
anywhere.
recorded a song during a party.
That fool puts his headphones on.
What song was that?
He puts his
Some
headphones
shit off
I think
Hellboy.
it was OMFG. He was like screaming, and there was
Yeah,
like hella
yeah,
He was
people
just
that-
screaming in the middle of
in
the
a
party.
closet. He was screaming in this like weird
Getting
closet.
fucked up
we had.
around him.
Holy
I don't think he had many pet peeves with recording.
He didn't like centipedes.
He was always comfortable.
I think like dudes like trying to press him and shit to get on features and shit, like, you know, or people being like, bro, like listen to my shit, like,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he
that
definitely.
kind of shit. He would like hate
Oh,
that
he-
shit.
Someone asked me one time to get a feature from him, and he said, he's like, tell him it's $20,000. He's like, just playing, but not for real. Like, he didn't do that shit.
So here's another SoundCloud fan question, and I'm gonna direct this at Tracy. What was his aura when he was recording music? What was the vibe?
Goat.
We're just. That's so weird. That's a weird question.
Yeah, shout out to that fan.
We're just making music, bro. But
That fool put
So
his
at the time when you were making music, did you realize that this is legendary,
No.
historic?
fuck no. We were just
Any of us.
we were just getting lit, making music.
Facts.
Every song was just fools fucked up. I'm sorry, like don't all get
Nah, for real.
That's what it was.
I
There's
think we were
nothing
ever
more than
sober.
It was just honest shit. Fools were just going
It
in.
was just pure fun.
I think you can like hear the genuineness in like the music too. You know, there's not like any
100%.
forced like moments. It's all like genuine and like natural.
But you make a beat for that fool, and he literally you make it for him, and he'd be like, all right, hell yeah. And he'd like put his headphones on and like sit on the couch on his laptop.
Yeah.
He'd be sitting there on his laptop for literally like 15 minutes, and he'd be like, all right, one sec.
Yeah, we would make
And then you go into the studio and literally record the most fire song you've
we
ever
would
heard in
make
your life.
songs 30 minutes.
Literally, it'd be like,
All I'm
like people sit there back.
Castles, we made that in probably
Bro,
like
Castles
Hey, that was-
was the craziest shit. I'll never remember that.
And also, this fool did everything on GarageBand.
Yeah, he
So
recorded himself.
crazy program.
Makes everything himself. Did everything
He
himself.
makes everything himself. All the songs that are out, except for maybe the album.
Until we met, really.
Yeah.
So, okay, one last
Castle,
for
that was
Tracy.
it.
So when stuff starts getting crazy with him and he's blowing up, what was that like for you?
I mean, it was cool because he was my best friend, so I started to blow up too.
Right.
So it felt good.
Sick. Sick. So, okay, Gabe,
Yes, sir.
you were definitely one of the earlier influences on Peep. I think the music that you made around like 2014? Was it 2013,
Uzi.
2014?
Something like
The OG Uzi.
Yeah, like that was, you know, that like set the stage. When was the first time that you heard a Peep song?
Shit, maybe. I met them all like 14 months before Peep passed. So maybe like the year before. I heard it maybe the day before I met them. I heard it. Or no, maybe a few days before I met them, I heard it. I had asked my little brother who he was listening to, because I had been in New York or some shit like that. So I was just like, who's the best producer? I was looking for producers. I was like, who's your favorite producer? And my brother was like, Young Cortex. I was like, who's Young Cortex? So I went to Cody's page. I actually heard Cody's music first, where he was like singing like over Blink-182 samples and shit. I was like, oh, this is fire. But then I looked into everything. I hit up Cody pretty much that day. He hit me back.
We made a song that's never been heard by the world, and my computer got stolen that same night.
Oh, the same night.
That same night, I left my computer in a backpack on the side of the street, and I'm pretty sure someone
And
took
that
it.
video is up there.
And we got an unreleased video, Walk Away as the Door Slams, on that laptop. Someone stole that laptop. It's like 2 years old.
Fuck that person.
So, Gabe, the first time you met him, do you remember that experience? Do you remember what happened?
Yeah, I linked them up at, these fools would get, not Peep had his own house at this point, but everyone else would just get like an Airbnb for like 3 or 4 days at a time or some shit. So there would be like 10 of them, or 5 to 6 of them in an Airbnb or some shit for like 3 days at a time. They'd go and like cook up. So I met them at one of those. It was where Money Posse was staying in Hollywood.
I don't remember. I drive past it sometimes, but I don't remember exactly what the apartment was. But yeah, I came in and I had met Tracy before actually at a couple parties.
I knew you for a long time.
Yeah, I met you a long time
We had
ago.
like some mutual friends and shit
Right.
like that. Tracy had been in LA at that point for a couple years.
Since 2014, we were out here.
I feel like I saw Tracy
Was that like when you
the
were
first
17,
week I
right?
was in LA.
My OG.
You moved out here when you were 17, right? Yeah.
So yeah, at that point you had already worked with a lot of legendary artists. You had a song with Wiz Khalifa out. When you're in the studio with Peep, what was that experience like compared to working with other huge names?
Crazy because Peep was like the most talented recording artist I'd seen work at that point. It was pretty like,
No
wow,
cap.
like, he's really good, you know what I mean? He didn't really redo that many takes and shit like that. It was really quick, you know what I mean? Never really heard him like, you know, I take my time when I make songs and shit like that. This was really fast.
Every song was like 30 fucking.
Fastest recorder on planet Earth.
Swear to God. Like, he was born with a gift, I swear.
So Gabe, you have, I think it's 3 features on this album.
Yes.
Did you make those songs that first time you met him?
No, that was like just a random day at Big E's.
That was May of that was May of 2017. We're in the studio. We all made all those songs from beats to this like writing to engineering. Everything was done in like 7-8 hours. That was a whole other shit. But yeah, that was done later. It was like May of 2017. So.
And when you heard those finished songs, what was the thought process?
I don't know, I was hyped on them. We were just fucking around. So I mean, I was hyped on them, but we were just fucking around. I was like, figured maybe we'll make more or some shit like that.
Right.
The process how that came together, that shit.
I was working with Ben really heavy, so it was kind of like a product of like, we were like showing him some of the shit that we were working on. Ben and I were working on, and it was kind of just like, oh, sick, let's all do some shit together.
Yeah, really, I mean, that happened like, so the day before, it was me and Fishnark and our homie Skylar. And we had been engineering, we've been recording on the guitar samples. So Fishnark and Skylar were playing guitar. And we got all these samples, and that night, like 3 a.m. is when I made the beat for Fangirl. And I sent it to Gabe, and he was this fire, we should get Peep on it. I'm like, all right, bet. Didn't think anything of it. We go home, wake up the next day, and get to the studio like 12. And like Peep calls me an hour later. He's like, "What you doing?" I'm at the studio, and he's like, "You trying to work?" I was like, "Yeah, pull up." So he came through, and I thought he knew. I thought Gabe hit him up and told him to come through, but he didn't. It was some random shit. He ended up hitting me up. He came through, and I played him that beat that I made the night before, it was Fangirl, and he did that shit in like 15 minutes. And like Gabe walks in with Fishnark, and Pete had just finished it, and that's kind of when it started. And like we got that song done, and then the Los Angeles, LA to London beat was the next one, and I did that, made that in front of both of them, and then they both had their parts running on it. And Rockstar was the same thing, just went in and started making it, and yeah, everything was done like 7-8 hours max for that.
So crazy.
Yeah, sometimes we just cooked up like that. Like there was a day I cooked up with Tracy like that, and we did like 4 songs. That will probably come out, I hope.
You and Tracy?
Wait, you and Tracy?
That was a
songs?
crazy day.
No, so we all used to cook up like that. Some days we would just link up and just make like 4 songs.
It was all 3 of
Some
us
shit.
actually having an EP. Big Heads on it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's super fire. I'm sure all the fans kind of know about it. But, that was another EP that was done one day type shit.
So crazy.
He would also like kind of like marinate on, like he wouldn't like
Marinate on
if
it.
he feel like making music, he would never like force himself to go and like try to force some shit. He would just wait till he was like ready to go.
But then when
he would do like
ready,
5
they-
tracks.
5, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That fool
5
could make
tracks.
like a bazillion songs in a day.
As long as he had, it was that.
He would never like
otherwise
force
he
it.
wouldn't-
If he didn't feel like making shit, he would never try to like force himself to do it. He would just wait till the ideas were like already like flowing, and then he would make a bunch of shit.
Yeah, he would go crazy. Ridiculous.
So, Era, you're the last person on the stage that we haven't talked to yet.
So,
Shout out, Era. So, you met him in London, is that right?
no, I met him like right before Horrible and Sober, part 1 drop.
So, what's the story of you meeting him and how that happened?
So I started working with him when I was working with McConan, and that's kind of like when they met, and they kind of like did their own thing. I remember they hit me up and they're like, "Yo, like, do you want to record this dude named Lil Peep?" I'm like, I thought it was gonna be some like ignorant ass dude, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect, but I'm like, yeah, sure. So I met him, and it was like the complete opposite. I mean, I feel like everybody really talked about it. Like, he was like the most like genuine, like humble ass, like most coolest person like I've ever met. And he, from like the rip, I feel like kind of like how the whole documentary is like everybody's everything. He made it feel like you were really special to him. Like everybody here can say like he really made you feel like you were supposed to be there, like you were supposed to be working. And that's when we started working on like the whole McConan and Peep project. And right after that is when we did the whole, he flew me out to London, and how that happened was he was like, it was the most random shit. I was working at like Shaky's Pizza or some shit, and he was like, he had reached out to like management and was like, yo, like I want you to come out to London and like record like some of this project. I'm like, sure. I quit my job, I just did, and we were in London for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And when we were in London is when we recorded Text Me, which is the song you guys heard earlier.
Hey, that's not fire as hell.
I appreciate it. The whole thing was like when we were out in London, we did Falling Down, we did I've Been Waiting, and like a bunch of other stuff that you guys are probably gonna hear like later on. One night like we did like an early version of the song, and there was an open verse on it, and I was like, bro, like it was like the end of the night, everyone was tired of shit, everyone was about to leave. I'm like, yo, like I would like, can I hop on this shit? It's just fire as fuck. He's like, yeah, bro, like do your thing, whatever. Fast forward, they ended up dipping. I stayed for like an hour and a half, whatever, recording my verse. The next morning, when we came back to the studio to start like recording everything, I played it for him, and like literally like he loved the shit. Like he was like so hyped about it. I was even surprised. I'm like, bro, like I'm literally just supposed to be here to like record you and like shut the fuck up, and like that's my job. So like I played it for him. Like he loved it, Smoke loved it, Conan loved it. So that was the story. That song, good.
So he was like super generous in the studio because you were engineering
Yeah,
the
I was
song.
literally just supposed to record him and press play, press space, whatever. But it was much more than that. It was more like he really trusted me and like a lot of the shit that we were doing. Because literally, like he could have got any person, but like he literally said like, yo, like you got like the label to get me a passport in like 2 days.
Wow.
And they like flew me the fuck out.
So when you're making that music with him in London, where did you envision the music going in the next like year or 2 years? Like
For him?
Yeah.
He was definitely like a lot of the shit he did with McConan was a lot different, like based off of like a lot of his early stuff. So like I got to work with him like when he was kind of like doing different like more experimental shit, which was dope. I mean, I guess you guys will hear it when it comes out, but yeah, he's dope. He's like such a good vibe in the studio. Like everyone said, like he literally does everything in like 20 to 30 minutes. Like whether he just goes in there and does a melody and then adds like the words to it later or whatever. Like he literally just wrote that shit. He doesn't have a notebook or like he literally just writes like keywords and then he'll just sit there and like say all the shit. So it's dope.
Wow.
Yo, for real though. That was the craziest writer on planet Earth. On God, I've never seen anyone write like that fool. This man would get a beat. He'd be like, all right, this is the beat.
Yeah.
And then you give him like 15 minutes. He's got his headphones on. He's literally sitting in a corner by himself. And he's like, all right.
I got it.
And then he walks over to the studio and literally records himself and makes like the most fucking banger you've ever heard.
He would never even like hum melodies or anything. He'd been in the back of the studio just quiet as shit writing, and he's like, all right, I got something. Like when we met Rockstars, all I had was the samples of the guitars laid out. I didn't have drums, nothing. And he's like, I got the hook. So he was like, I got the hook. And I was like, all right, bro. I have drums, nothing on it yet.
I swear to God, he could write hooks faster than life itself.
Yeah, like Drake
Hooks were like hooks took
nothing
a whole
like
ass
speed.
5 minutes.
Drake,
like
fuck
five-
Drake. That's what I'm
he's
saying.
Someone asked,
Peep,
okay,
go.
one of the fan questions is from SoundCloud. Shout out SoundCloud. Yeah, exactly. One of the questions is, do you believe Peep, at this moment, if he was still with us, would be selling out stadiums?
Yeah,
Fuck
100%.
yeah.
That would have been happening last year.
So,
No question.
what do you think would be happening right now if he was still here? Like, where would he be at? Where would music be at? Where would pop culture be at?
Bro, that fool would be asked to play the Super Bowl and he'd be like, nah.
God, dude, fuck yeah.
Dead ass.
He don't. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe though. He wanted to be pretty like big. Like so. Maybe he would have done the Super Bowl.
Pop star.
Yeah. So, fact or fiction? You watch Euphoria on HBO. It looks like a little Peep music video.
Oh shit, I've watched that.
I've
I don't
never
think
watched
that's
that.
true.
I don't think
That's
it's
a fact. That's a fact.
I don't think that's.
But I'm saying, do you think he influenced pop culture in a bigger way just than outside his music?
Obviously,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Of course.
No one was like a goth girl or something before like.
All these-
Let's be real. Like,
all these
no one-
mainstream
no one
artists
painted their
singing all
nails. No one was like.
I think the
dressed
trend
goth.
that
started all
e-boys,
That wasn't
e-girls
big before us.
wasn't a thing.
What's
thing.
it
There
even?
was no e-girls. Like, I will say that before the.
Oh.
And there was
White
like
kids
no,
with face
no one was like painting their nails. No one was dyeing their hair. No one was getting faces.
He was inspiring. He was
I
inspiring.
think he was actually more
inspired.
inspirational as far as like fashion and shit goes than like as he was music. Because a lot of people that don't even make music try to look exactly like and be exactly like their persona just tries to be exactly like him. You know, even if their music doesn't sound like him. So many artists I don't know. Like I could name like 50, but I'm not coming to it. You guys already know. Like, I don't have to
Y'all
say.
know.
Blackbird, for sure.
Okay, so anyway, let's get into some of the songs that we played tonight. Aquafina, Better Off Dead recorded and it features Rich the Kid. Do you have any funny stories from when that song was recorded?
Yeah, Aquafina, that was very random. I mean, it was like a night we were up all night in the studio. Like,
Shout out Big Head on that one too. I feel like
Yeah.
he played a big part.
It was like, so Pete told me, he's like, yo, Rich the Kid wants me to get on a song. I sent it to him. Alright, and Big Head, the guy, got beats, so he ended up playing the beats. And Pete fucked with that one beat, that's Aquafina. And he was actually, he was high on Molly, that's what Molly and Aquafina. I think it was Molly and his lean. And so he was like sipping lean, had Molly, and he just like geeked up and made that song. We're up all night. I'm pretty sure like Tracy was there, Cortex might have been there. There was a few, Dre might have been there too, but there's a few of us there, and that was one of them all night sessions. We've been working all day already, and then he popped Molly at night, and he just kept going.
Like a common question I get is like, oh, thank you. Did Lil Peep actually live the life that he was singing about?
Fuck yeah, no other rapper lived the life like he did. That's why he made Liar, except for Tracy, yeah. But that's why
Except
he
for
made,
Lil Tracy.
that's why he made Liar. That's what Liar is about. How no rapper really does what they talk about. Peep fucking did everything he talked about.
Everything
Facts,
and more.
facts.
Honestly.
Literally
Everything
facts.
and more.
That fool never told a lie.
Never
He wasn't
capped.
lying.
He was the least capping.
Not a liar.
I will say,
Yeah. So they told me to write down questions for this, and I didn't.
Why don't we do crowd questions?
Hey, crowd questions.
Like,
Wait,
I
hold
feel
on.
like that's a good idea.
Okay, I got one more question. So, when he passed, his legacy is, what lives on. What responsibility do you guys feel to uphold his legacy, or what is your place or responsibility in that?
Don't give a fuck. Just do what feels right to you.
Yep.
Be yourself.
Big
That's
facts.
like
That fool said what the
biggest
fuck he
time.
wanted to do, and he did not give a fuck what anyone
Just-
thought.
All of us who are his friends, who are artists, just to live on his legacy through our art, because that's what he would want us to do.
Yeah, and unapologetically be your fucking
And,
self.
yeah, just be yourself. Do whatever the fuck you want to do.
That's exactly
Just
what he
keep it
wanted.
moving. If any of us died, we would want that shit.
Same, yeah.
Facts.
You want us to be happy, fuck being sad. Like, we got to experience the social with us, and we made history with him, so it's like,
That fool was going through it, but made himself happy all the time.
all the time.
All the time. That fool was happy and positive as shit all the fucking time. Like,
He was literally,
he was going through it, but he was happy as shit.
he was too
His
good,
fucking
like,
lit.
for all of it.
Find ways to make it happen.
Okay, so I got a question for Tracy. So Tracy, you and him were super close, right? What responsibility do you feel like you have to kind of carry on his legacy, or do you not feel that, or do you think he would even want you to? Like, he would probably think all of this, we're on stage right now, is stupid as shit.
He would think this is the
So
corniest shit
trash,
of all
so
time.
trash.
I
But
don't-
so what's, I mean, you have the tattoos, like what do you, like what's your perspective on all this?
I think my responsibility is just
Who is that girl?
you know, stay alive, get money.
Fuck bitches.
I mean, make music, be myself.
Simple.
Just don't fuck up. You know what I mean?
Facts.
Literally, stay alive, make music, be
Facts,
yourself. That's
facts.
it. No
Stay
fuck
alive.
else are we supposed to do?
What? Yeah. What? I can
For real.
get tatted, fuck bitches, blah blah blah. You know?
Hey!
There we go.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got about 20 minutes left of this bad boy. Do we have any?
Why don't we do
questions
some
from the
crowd
crowd?
questions?
Crowd keys,
Here's the
crowd
thing,
keys,
though.
crowd
Here's the
keys.
thing. You gotta ask normal questions because these are some of his closest friends. Don't ask any weird
Wait,
shit.
can we ask them questions?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure, go.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
No, we should do fan questions. And I'm gonna lead it.
You guys ask us questions.
All right, ready?
You guys ask us questions.
Alright. Alright, who has questions? Anyway.
I'm drunk as
Alright,
shit.
we're gonna go here first. You got one?
What he says, crazy difference. What is the difference between like when Little Peep? What was the difference between his collaborations with someone else?
Collaboration.
With Camilo and Tracy?
But that fool could work with anyone.
The question
He could work with
what was it
anyone, bro.
like working
That
with
fool worked
Tracy versus working with everyone else?
That
That
fool
sounds like
worked
a
with
crazy
Juicy
question.
J. He worked with Rich the Kid. That fool worked with anyone,
Yeah,
man. That
for
fool
real.
worked with anyone. On God.
Think about like why
What was it like
Tracy-
working with Tracy versus other people
Right.
around him?
They be in the studio. I mean, a lot of people
I feel
like.
like, I would answer that. I feel like he connected with him more than.
I'm gonna be
It's
real.
also, I mean, I engineered the Rich the Kid shit, and I engineered like some other one, but it's like they weren't in the studio. Rich the Kid, Juicy J, that wasn't in the studio. They sent him songs, or they're like, just send me a song. It wasn't like with Tracy, they're always together. They were making them songs. They'd vibe off each other. It'd take 30 minutes.
When he was with Tracy, he was big vibing.
Big vibes.
Okay, next question. Here we go. In the green shirt, front row.
Alright, Tracy, this is for you. It's a huge question.
Huge.
Huge.
Don't say anything stupid.
Let's hear it.
Do you and Pete have an extra mixtape that has not been released?
Oh, that's
We release everything.
so. The question is, is there any unreleased Tracy P music?
I think there might
That's a
be
fact.
there might be one song that we sent each other before we met that I can't remember, but I
There's
think
no tape or no finisher.
I think there's one song I don't remember.
I'm gonna be dead ass. I feel like
Next question.
every time y'all made a song, it would come out the next
Oh
day.
yeah. I don't know if I can.
Do you remember the night you guys made white wine?
Ooh, it's a
Oh
classic.
yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that night.
Great question.
Yes, I remember that night. very clearly.
What happened?
Wait,
that
alright,
night?
yeah, what was
Where
that?
were you? I think
We
I heard
were-
it from Wiggy.
We were at Money Pond.
We were in an Airbnb,
in Hollywood.
and we
That
was.
was the first time I met Clark.
That was the first night. That was the first night. Like a lot of us met.
He made the beat in like what?
Bro,
Couple
Ned
minutes.
made that whole entire ass mixtape
Peep
in a
just
fucking night.
Freestyled the
Ned
hook.
made that whole shit in a fucking night, bro.
Castle's
He made fluff.
Fun fact, Castle's One was the only time I ever made beats in front of Peep. Everything else I just emailed to him. It's
Yo.
not that crazy.
He made that shit in one
not that
whole
crazy.
night. That was the wildest shit.
Alright, next question.
Next question.
What's up? You got somebody come over here. You're right here.
Oh, thank you for letting me ask a question. I go by, by the layer, by the way. I'm a producer.
Boo.
No, I'm not trying to say myself. Whatever. No, whatever. Alright.
He's just joking. Don't listen to
Yeah, whatever, right?
Yeah, what's your
The
ID,
neck
bro?
bleeds.
I'll say my question. Everyone's laughing and shit, but no, like when I heard of Peep's passing, it was basically the night of. I started seeing it on Twitter, blah blah blah. What was everyone's reaction? Honestly, like honest reaction. I mean, you were there, Tracy. So
I was not there.
you were not there. Oh, I thought you were there. Sorry. Oh, my bad. No, I thought you were there on Tuesday.
Oh, we're gonna talk about music. Let's talk about music. Yeah, we'll talk about music.
Hey, don't get mad at my G. He's just
Sorry,
chilling.
bro.
Everybody was fucked up. The hell? Questions over here?
That dude's vibing over here. Don't worry about him.
Sorry, bro.
What was it that inspired you to write music?
Everything.
Yeah, just everything that you've written. What was it that mainly inspired you to write music to begin with? Tracy? Alright, little Tracy, she knows better than I do, but I just want
What inspired me, man, to write music?
Everything.
What made you? I used
He's got
to.
a good ass voice. What are you talking about?
You want to know what real? Can I tell the truth?
Soldier Boy.
I used to do acid, and then.
Somebody give me a good fucking question right now. Somebody come over here and give me a good
What kind of acid do you
Okay, we
do?
got time for one more question.
One more
folks. Make it
question.
good. This
One
better
more.
be good.
Ask anybody but Tracy a question.
Yeah, ask someone else.
Hey,
a
he's
question.
got a Nadarp tee on. Hold up. He's got a Nadarp tee on.
Wow.
Hold up.
Okay, alright.
That's a nice team.
Question for Ned, actually.
Hey, he's got the Nadarp tee on asking the natty question. This is a real one right now.
Do you think if Peep was alive today, he would have been on Amity?
Fuck yeah. Would have been on
Hell yeah.
Last question.
Okay, thank you everyone for coming out. Shout out Tracy, surprise guest. Shout out Booster over there. I see you. Shout out everyone who sat on the stage because it's hard as fuck to talk about.
Make some fucking noise!